I'm Tricia McCannon, the Mysteries Expert, and welcome to the next exciting installment in short YouTube videos that we've produced to help people to discover the mysteries of the universe and to open up the conversation, the bigger conversation about who are we, where do we come from, and where are we going. And so in this particular presentation, we're going to touch in on some of the mysteries of the UFO phenomena. Well, it's certainly a hot topic, isn't it? It's one of the hottest things that's Googled, I think, on the internet, and for good reason. We live in a multi-dimensional universe, and it's really clear from the last 50 or 60 years of thousands and thousands of reports from around the world that we are being visited by some kind of extraterrestrial or interdimensional craft. And in fact, one of the things that we discover when we begin to look into the subject is it's not simply one race that's visiting us, there are many. Many of you who know my work know that for many years I had a nonprofit organization called the UFO Forum here in Atlanta, and I brought in experts from many of the sciences and humanities to take a look at this phenomena. This included psychiatrists, psychologists, ex-military officials, ex-NASA officials, contactees, abductees, engineers, theologians, astrophysicists, and many others. All of them agreed that there actually does appear to be something happening that is not simply a result of weather balloons or missiles or secret government aircraft, that there actually appears to be some kind of visitation occurring. And I can say for myself that since the time I was a child, I also have had experiences with these kinds of beings. Now, the beings that I've had contact with are very benevolent beings. They certainly mean no harm to the human race or to our planet. If anything, they are very much in our corner in terms of allowing us and supporting us to come forward and to mature as a species, so that we lay down our arms, we stop fighting, we start looking for healthy energy systems for the planet, and we begin to open up to the possibilities that life does not have to be so negative, it doesn't have to be so conflictual, it doesn't have to be such a power struggle, it doesn't have to be all around money, power, greed, and control. They're actually presenting another paradigm to us. And unfortunately, because this more expanded paradigm comes into conflict with some of the social, political, and financial agendas of people, let us say, who are in power at this time, these extraterrestrials' more benevolent intentions have really not been allowed to be publicized to the public. What we primarily hear about ETs in terms of both the wonderful Hollywood movies that are also kind of Hollywood propaganda, the television shows like V, and are basically negative reports of, fear-based aliens who are wanting to, suck our blood or turn us into strange reptilian creatures, or come blow up our planet, or some version of this kind of Hollywood madness. This is certainly makes for good TV, makes for very entertaining movies. I mean, I go to see those movies, but it's not very enlightened. And many of the races that are coming here are pretty enlightened races. Certainly there's a whole plethora of these races. You've got the Greys, you've got the reptilians, absolutely. And there's a whole story about the reptilians, the shape-shifting thing. But you have many kind, benevolent, aware human races that are really interested in helping us to find technology and energy systems that are non-polluting, that are supportive of a holistic vision for our planet, and would take the control and the power out of the hands of the power elite. People like Stephen Greer have been working for many years for the disclosure, the allowing of this information to come out to the general public. And I think there are many reasons why it's been kept silent for so long. Certainly one of the very first questions we would ask would be, well, gosh, who are they? Where did they come from? And this opens up a whole can of worms, not only in terms of the fossil fuel-based powers that be that are interested and heavily invested in their own existing technology and don't really want us to know that there are non-polluting technologies that can open up a safe way for us to have all the energy that we want on this planet. But it also opens up the can of worms about the very nature of multidimensional reality, because some of these ships are not just coming in the physical world, they are moving from the third dimension up into the fourth dimension and doing what we might think of as folding space-time and then dropping back down into the third dimension. So this opens up a whole can of worms in terms of spiritual paradigms and the religious powers who are heavily invested on this planet as well, and have their own corporations basically to run and are dependent upon the support of millions of people giving them money and believing in all of the ABCs of whatever theology they may be promoting. And certainly there is great wisdom in a lot of these theologies, just as the government has many wonderful people working for it. Just because some portion of it is off or not correct does not mean we have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. However, it does make us begin to rethink our paradigms, our energy paradigms, our money paradigms, our social structure paradigms, our religious paradigms, our quantum physics paradigms. How is the universe structured, and is it possible that there really are a lot of other beings that are out there, human and humanoid, similar to us and quite different from us, that could be taking an interest in this planet. And indeed, I would venture to say that this is exactly the case. And there are many reasons why they have such an interest in this planet. I talk about some of these in my presentations on the extraterrestrial origins of life on planet Earth, Angels and the Anunnaki, which really chronicles the descent of the Anunnaki gods and goddesses, who were, of course, human ETs that came here about 38,000 years ago, and were very deeply involved in Earth's history until about 5,000 years ago, when they began to slowly withdraw. And now, of course, we hear very little about them. For the last 2,000 years, by and large, we've been taught to believe that gods and goddesses, who there are reports, of course, all over the world and all of the histories and mythologies, but that these are, fairy tales, that they're not really real. But in fact, I would venture to suggest to all of you that where there's smoke, there's fire, that these legends all have a basis in fact. And this is one of the reasons why in my DVD and CD series, I've produced a whole series really on the hidden history of the planet Earth. And for those of you who are interested in knowing more, by all means, please go to my website, which is www.triciamccannonspeaks.com. These presentations span the gamut from the hidden history of the human race and how we're connected in with the extraterrestrials, UFOs in the world today, bringing it up to date, and really talking about what's coming in the future with 2012 and the age of Aquarius. Certainly we live in most exciting times. We live in a time where as the doorway into the age of Aquarius begins to open, this visitation with these extraterrestrials and multidimensional beings is only going to increase. And I've taken groups out about 35 times and managed to call ships in each time. It's been lots of fun. And I would say that, if I get a chance to come and speak for your group somewhere, perhaps if we have a wonderful mountaintop where there's been some visitation, then we should have some success doing this as a group. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's always a pleasure doing these. Until the next time, this is Tricia McKinnon signing off. Thanks for joining us.